Hi everyone, Karen Margulis here. Welcome to my studio, and I have a tip for you today, something that's been helping me get through these days and being more productive in the studio. Now I know we have a lot of time on our hands, and so we have probably the opportunity to work on paintings and projects that we've put on the back burner. I know I have. But the problem that I'm finding is I have too many things that I want to do, too many things that I want to paint, and I get overwhelmed. So I end up going into my studio and puttering around. I call that the puttering disease, and moving things from shelf to shelf and getting nothing done, and then feeling bad about it. So what I started to do is, when I go downstairs into my studio in the morning, I am very, very conscious of being productive. Do I paint? No, I don't paint, but I plan to paint. And what I am doing is I'm setting up for the paintings that I plan to do. Now let me explain. First thing that I do is I write down the paintings that I want to paint. So the things that I've been, wanting to paint, I pull out reference photos, maybe they're projects I'm working on. If I can write them down, I can get it out of my head, and then I know that I have a list that I can look at. The second thing that I do is I actually physically set up for those paintings, meaning I take out my foam core boards, and I paint on foam core, and I get these at the Dollar Tree, so they're inexpensive. Reuse them until they fall apart, then I recycle them. So I have several on hand, and what I do is I set up for at least 4 or 5 paintings at one time. What does that mean? I pull the reference photo, I pick the paper that I want to use, and then the second part of my strategy is to use these sticky notes. And I just write down my goal for each painting. What it is I want to do, what is my story, what kind of underpainting maybe I want to do. So I'll give myself notes. Alright, so when I have time to paint, maybe I go and do something else, maybe go for a walk, do some gardening, and I come back into the studio, I have many options, so I don't have to just putter around with not without being productive, and I'm no longer overwhelmed. So if I find that if I take a few minutes, half hour, at the beginning of the week, set up for paintings, then I have a whole collection to paint when I have that moment or minute of inspiration and I'm ready to paint. The other thing that I like to do is pick one of them and do the underpainting. So maybe I'll do an underpainting in the morning and then come back to it in the afternoon and finish the painting. If I'm not inspired by that one, I can pick from another one. So I have several going at one time, and that has really, really helped me break that kind of inertia that I was feeling, like just being totally overwhelmed and totally uninspired. But now that I have things, like I can see them in front of me, I've got things lined up, I've got projects to work on, it's been a lot easier and a lot more fun, and I've been a lot more productive in the studio. So I hope this tip has helped you, and let's paint.